Alright, welcome everyone to leg 3 of the World Tour. VRF Summer here. We're in beautiful Portland, Oregon at the Portland International Airport, parked at the GA terminal. Let's go ahead and hop into the aircraft. We're going to be flying to the east down the Columbia River in the Columbia River Gorge today. That way you can see Mount Hood in the distance there. So it should be a really pretty beautiful flight. Really looking forward to it today. I'm going to go ahead and pull up our checklist so we can go ahead and get the aircraft started. If you'd like to join along, I'm in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. I have all players on for multiplayer, so come on and join me at Portland International, which is Kilo Papa Delta X-Ray, if you want to join in. I'm just going to be flying low level down the river, checking out some of the waterfalls and cool cliff faces as we head east toward the Dalles Airport, which is a little over 60 nautical miles away. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on my pre-flight checks. If you want to join in, come on and join me. My screen name's Cron321, if it might show it on the parking spots. Alright, so pre-flight inspection, cockpit, aircraft documents, checked, parking brake, got that set, ignition off, avionics switch bus 1 and 2 off, battery switch, we'll turn that on, and fuel quantity indicators, it's showing full like it should, so they're checked. Left or low fuel left and right, annunciators off, avionics switch bus 1 and 2 on, and we hear the fan, so we'll turn them back off. Static pressure alternate source valve closed. Annunciator panel test. Fuel selector to both, it is. Fuel shutoff valve open. Flaps down, go ahead and bring those down. Check that out. Alright, flaps are down. Pitot heat, we'll turn that on. Make sure it's working. Should see a bump in the ammeter here. Yep, there we go. Pitot heat off, battery switch off, elevator trim, get that set to neutral right there at the takeoff tick mark, and pre-flight inspection cockpit complete. Before starting engine checklist, pre-flight inspection, typically we'd walk around the aircraft at this point and check everything on the exterior. Looks good, looks like the area is pretty clear around us. Alright, so pre-flight inspection complete, seatbelts adjusted, locked, electrical equipment off, avionics switch bus 1 and 2 off, fuel selector of both, fuel shutoff valve open. Before starting engine check complete. Starting engine check. Propeller area clear. The guy's standing kind of close, but he'll be alright. It's a computer game. So, clear prop. Battery switch on. Beacon on. Mixture rich. Auxiliary fuel pump on for 3 to 5 seconds. Look for a little bit of fuel flow here. Alright. There we go. Mixture lean. Feet. We have parking brake still on. Ignition to start. Here we go. And we'll adjust the throttle back to 1,000 RPM. Alright. All the engine instruments are in the green. Normal range there. And we'll go ahead and flip the alternator on. And it's charging the battery. Good. So after starting engine check, throttle adjusted to 1,000 RPM, oil pressure's checked, alternator on, alternator indicator off, ammeter checked, avionics switch bus 1 and 2 on, radios on, transponder standby, and flaps up. Heading indicator, let's see, you're looking at about 187, and that's what we're showing on the heading indicator there, so that's set. Altimeter, let's get our ATIS information here. It should have live weather for us, so there it goes. That looks a little better. I was gonna say it looked a little too clear. I don't know. Maybe the weather's that nice in Portland today. Alright, so ATIS is going to be on 128.35, so let's listen.
Portland Airport information Alpha 2300 Zulu. Wind calm. Visibility, tree. Sky condition, few clouds at 500 feet, few clouds at 4,200 feet, few clouds at 12,400 feet. Temperature, 1 tree. Dew point, 10. Altimeter tree 0.09er. ILS runway 28 left and ILS runway 28 right in use. Landing and departing runway 28 left and runway 28 right. VFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact you have Alpha.
Alright, so we have Alpha there, and altimeter 3009, and this VMC, it looks a lot better than what the ATIS was reporting there. So definitely VMC conditions right now. I'll go ahead and contact ground. I set the heading bug to the approximate runway heading. We'll go ahead and pull up the charts first here before we get started so we can all be on the same page. So this is our sectional chart, and we're starting here in Portland, the international airport. We're going to be flying east down the Columbia River, and I'm not going to follow this direct route that's depicted on here, but we're going to follow down the river past the Cascade Lock State and through the Dalles here, and it looks like it's VMC conditions at our destination airport. Winds are out of the northwest at 10 knots, 10 miles, clear skies. So beautiful day. Pretty hot though, 36 degrees Celsius at the Dalles. So that's our planned route. And then for our chart here, we're parked right here at in the general aviation area. So we'll see what runway they give us. If we're going to 28 right, we're going to have to be careful about these hot spots, which I briefed on the previous flight. You do not, if you can miss the turn on Alpha and end up on a runway pretty quickly, so we'll be aware of that. Let's call ground and let's go ahead and get our clearance. I'm going to tune to ground on 121.9er, which I think I'm already there, but we'll give it a shot here. We'll be departing to the east.
Portland ground, Cessna November 215 Romeo Alpha with Alpha request taxi for takeoff east departure. Cessna November 215 Romeo Alpha taxi to and hold short of runway 28 left via taxiway Golf, cross runway 28 right Golf Foxtrot Bravo Charlie Echo. Contact tower on 123.775 when ready.
Request 28 right.
Portland ground, Horizon Air 2267 taxi to the gate. Horizon Air 2267 taxi to gate 15 using taxiway Golf Foxtrot Bravo Alpha. Portland ground, Cessna 5 Romeo Alpha would prefer runway 28 right. Cessna November 215 Romeo Alpha taxi to and hold short of runway 28 right using taxiway Golf. Contact tower on 123.775 when ready. Horizon Air 2267, hold position, caution, other traffic. Taxi to and hold short runway 28 right via taxiway Golf Cessna 5 Romeo Alpha.
Alright, so we got 28 right now. Before we get moving,
Ground, Horizon Air 2665, requesting
just going to
pushback.
glance at this one more time for us.
Horizon Air 2665, pushback.
So 28 right via Golf, which I don't think they've updated the
Taxiing to gate 15 using taxiway Golf.
taxiway designators on Flight Sim, because this chart is from 10th of July 20, so I would imagine these taxiway designators are a little more accurate for real world. But we're going to be on Alpha, it looks like, so we'll turn around, we'll take a right turn on Alpha. We're either going to, I think we're going to be exiting at Alpha 4 here, so right turn on Alpha to 28 right, and we'll be careful to not go past Alpha onto the runway. Okay, With that being said, let's get moving here. So, person to our left, we don't have anybody to our right. I'm going to turn out to the right. So here we go. Get our taxi light on. Nav lights. Alright, let's roll. Alright, turn coordinator is looking good. Heading indicators working. The compass is working. Wow, there's a... Make sure to keep these rampers everywhere here. And we'll check the brakes again really quickly. Alright, they're working.
Portland ground, Horizon Air 2665 requesting the end of pushback. Horizon Air 2665 request to end pushback received.
And looks like we have a rather large aircraft. Right there on the
Portland ground, Horizon Air 2665 with Alpha ready to taxi IFR. Horizon Air 2665 taxi to and hold short of runway 28 left via taxiway golf, cross runway 28 right golf, Foxtrot, Bravo,
wait to see where this guy's going. Turn off my taxi light.
On 123.775 when ready.
Because I think he has the size advantage over my little Cessna 172 here.
Taxiing hold short runway 28 left via taxiway golf, cross runway 28 right golf, Foxtrot, Bravo, Charlie, Echo, Horizon Air 2665.
Yeah. Alright.
Horizon Air 2665, hold position caution, the Cessna Skyhawk on the taxiway. Horizon Air 2665, continue taxi. Horizon Air 2665, hold position caution, the Cessna Skyhawk on the taxiway. Horizon Air 2665, continue taxi.
I'm just gonna...
Horizon Air 2665, hold position caution, the Cessna Skyhawk on the taxiway.
I think they're pushing.
Horizon Air 2665, continue taxi.
And we can only exit basically right here. I'm gonna sneak around this guy right here. This wouldn't be very smart to do in real life. Catch some pretty wicked jet blast. But we're on a little simulator, so avoid the taxi lights. There we go. It's the beauty of a simulator.
Roger, Horizon Air 2665.
Okay, so while we're doing the taxi out, let's go ahead and do our taxi checks here. Start at the top here. Taxi light as required. I should turn that back on now that we're moving again. So taxi light is on. Landing light off for now. Strobes will be on for takeoff. Nav lights on. Parking brakes released. Brakes we've tested. Rudder test. Turn coordinator is working. Heading indicators checked working. Compass checked working. Taxi check complete. Do the run-up check down here toward the end of the runway in just a minute. Beautiful view there, Mount Hood out in the distance. And there is golf, alright. But a little bit of traffic out here at the airport today, which is really cool. Hey Nathan, thanks for the comment and question there. This is Microsoft Flight Simulator on the computer. I have it on a Windows PC. But they are apparently coming out with an Xbox version later this year, early next year. But really a cool simulator, definitely would recommend it. A lot of fun to play. Alright, I'm just going to take us right here. I'm going to turn us around so we can do a little warm up. I'm not going to take the full runway in this little Cessna. So I'm going to set the parking brake. We'll do our run up checks really quickly. Alright, mixture is full rich. Fuel selector, both autopilot will engage. And flight controls move against autopilot. There we go. Autopilot is off. Throttle set to 1800 RPM. And we'll do the mag checks here. To the left. Back to both. To the right. Back to both. And we didn't have more than 150 RPM drop. And they were within 50 RPM of each other. Vacuum gauge is in the green. Oil pressure and temperature is checked also. Ammeter is checked. Annunciator panel's clear. And we'll check idle of on the throttle now. Should settle out between 600 and 650 RPM. And it looks good. So we'll go back to 1000 RPM before takeoff check now. Radios. Go ahead and get those set here. We'll go ahead and tune to tower. Radio set, avionics set, nav GPS switch. We'll go ahead and switch that over to GPS. Transponder on out. Let's go ahead and put that all the way over here on out. Get our mode C going. Autopilot's off. Elevator trim. Let's get that set for takeoff. And flaps are up. Cabin windows closed. Park and brake will release in a second. Before takeoff check complete, we'll be departing straight. We'll be departing to the east, so they might give us right traffic back around to the east, or maybe a left traffic departure. I don't know what the computer air traffic control will have us do. But we'll be full throttle, rotate at 55 knots, climbing out at 70 knots until we get turned back around. We're going to be staying at 2,500 feet or less, following the Columbia River to the east. So this is going to be low level, purely VFR, and enjoying the scenery. Looks like the runway is clear right now, and I'm going to go ahead and call for our departure.
Portland Tower, Cessna November 215 Romeo Alpha, ready at runway 28 right east, departure. Cessna November 215 Romeo Alpha, cleared for takeoff, runway 28 right, departure to the east, approved. Cleared for takeoff, runway 28 right, Cessna 5 Romeo Alpha.
Alright, we're clear for takeoff. And runway is clear as far as I can tell. Final is clear. Alright, 28 right is on the pavement. 28 right's verified. Instruments all look good. Here we go. Let's check that everything's in the green as we get rolling here. Alright. Your speed's alive. Engine instruments are good. And there's 55. We'll rotate.
Turn next taxiway.
A pretty busy afternoon.
Romeo Alpha, continue for east departure. I will contact you next when you leave my airspace. FedEx 781, exit runway when able.
I'm going to take us to the right. Looks like it's clear right, so we're going to turn right out over the river here.
Portland Tower, Cessna November 215 Romeo Alpha, continue for east departure. FedEx 781, contact ground on 121.9er. 121.9er, FedEx 781.
Alright, and we're off. We're heading east toward the Dalles now. And for those of you who are watching these flights for the first time here, I'm doing a world tour, so these legs are all generally, most of them are going to be an hour or so, maybe a little less, and low altitude, just a way to try to get to check out the scenery here in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. And really for the next few flights, we're just going to be going down the west coast of the United States, checking out some of the really cool scenery that is around these parts. And today it's going to be the Columbia Gorge and the Columbia River. And then our next leg, we're going to be heading down south past Mount Hood and into the mountains. I'm just going to keep us kind of leveled off right in this area here around 1,200 feet and get us trimmed out. Pull the throttle back a little bit here.
Cessna 5 Romeo Alpha, you are leaving my airspace. Frequency change approved. Portland Tower Cessna November 215 Romeo Alpha, frequency change.
Alright, I'm going to get flight following since we have quite a bit of traffic in this area right now.
Portland approach Cessna November 215 Romeo Alpha is type Cessna Skyhawk 4 miles east of Portland, 1,200 feet. Request clearance to transition Charlie airspace. Cessna November 215 Romeo Alpha, Portland approach. Squawk 5365.
5365, let's do that. 5365, there we go.
Cessna 5 Romeo Alpha, radar contact 5 miles east of Portland, 1,100 feet. Cleared through the Charlie airspace. Maintain on navigation. Cleared through the Charlie airspace, Cessna 5 Romeo Alpha.
Alright, so there we go. I'm going to pull up our sectional chart here just a second so we can take a peek at what they were talking about there. So the floor of this class Charlie here, once we get past the island that we're going around, is at 1,700 feet, so we're actually below it. So we should be exiting the class Charlie very shortly, and then we're just going to be in just flying down the river to the Columbia Gorge Regional. Should be a pretty flight. Never flown this route ever in a flight simulator, so definitely looking forward to it tonight. Looks like some sort of a processing facility for something. Yeah, that's really cool looking with Mount Hood in the distance. I'd imagine if you lived in Portland, that'd be a great place to head on the weekends. Doesn't look like it's that far away, really. Alright, looks like the topography is starting to get a little more interesting now, and I think it's just going to continue to get better as we continue east down the river. Yeah, so Nathan, you use Infinite Flight on the iPad. Really cool. I might have to check that out sometime. I do not have an iPad though. I'm guessing maybe they have it on the iPhone. But if so, I might have to check it out. That sounds really cool. So this river is a pretty decent size. If I remember, it was, I think this is a pretty important river back when Lewis and Clark were doing some expeditions through the West, but it's been a while since I studied that part of American history, so maybe some of you that are history buffs can fill us in on the significance of the Columbia River. Alright, yeah, Nathan, so yeah, you can do it on the phone just smaller. Okay, very cool. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Definitely. Thanks for the recommendation. I appreciate it. Yeah, and I mean, for now, I'm really enjoying this Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. They have some bugs they're working out, but even with all the bugs, I mean, it's a fun flight simulator. It's going to be exciting to see what the community and developers can do in partnership over these next few years. You know, I'm hoping, I would think this simulator will have a pretty good lifespan if it's properly supported. So definitely it's pretty green, this part of the river. A lot of foliage around, and I'm wondering if it's going to get kind of dry as we head out to our destination airport at the Dalles. And really pretty looking highway over here down to the south. Looks like it would be a very scenic route to drive. And when I was doing some planning for this world tour and looking at this part of the route, it said there's some really pretty waterfalls just off of that road down there. I don't know if we'll be able to see them here in Flight Sim 2020, but I can definitely see how a waterfall could be a reality, because obviously get some decent rainfall here. It's pretty green and there's quite a bit of elevation change. And obviously a lot of water. So I guess the next airport we're gonna see, it'll be off our right, way up here. It's gonna be Cascade Locks State. So that identifier is Charlie Zulu Kilos. So if any of y'all want to join in on the flight. That's it's like a railroad down there. Very cool. It's definitely just a beautiful area. I'm gonna go outside the airplane for a minute so we get some views here. Yeah, that's pretty. Just keep going down the river that way. I guess you'll eventually get to the Pacific Ocean. wondering where some of the waterfalls might be. Almost looks like there might be one off to the right there. Yep, that looks like it's one of the waterfalls that you can stop at along this route. And so, wow, that'd be pretty cool. Really neat. I guess parts of this river get pretty narrow according to the sectional chart. I'll pull that up. So you can see here, we're right in this area right now. So we'll be coming up to the Cascade Locks here in a minute. There are going to be some towers, 439 feet MSL. So we're still going to be above those, but flying low level like this, definitely need to keep an eye out for any obstructions in the area. This looks like it would be a fun place to go boating too. Just imagine having those really pretty cliffs off to the side of your boat as you're screaming down the Columbia River. And it looks like some people have bought some riverfront property. Whoa, sorry about that. So this must be the Columbia Locks area coming up. I'm sorry, not the Columbia Locks, the Cascade Locks. There should be an airport on the other side of this area. And the Columbia Wilderness area off to our right. There's the dam. Let's see if we can get a cool view of it. We'll switch over to the right seat so we can get a good visual on it. Yep, so that must be the Cascade Locks area, which they do have it sort of modeled. I mean, I know they're still working on some stuff here in the sim, but AutoGen did a neat job of trying to capture that. You can see the water flowing around the locks. But wow, very cool. This looks like it was quite the project whenever they built this, because there's a lot of water in this river. Alright, back to the left seat. We'll listen to Cascade Locks traffic. Since the airport is coming up right off our nose, Alright, that must be the Cascade Locks Airport right there, just off the nose. It's a cool looking little airstrip. I'm monitoring the common traffic advisory frequency. Doesn't sound like anyone's here, and trying to keep an eye out inside the plane. But nobody's up flying. That's Crown Point. Very cool. Oh. So the Cascade Locks Airport. Yeah, looks like the next airport we're gonna have coming up is, well, there's one up to the north of us, kind of behind us now, called Keyway, but then Jernstedt at Hood River, just down the river up here. So we really don't have that much farther to go before we reach our destination for this leg. But it's certainly a very pretty route. It looks like you can just drive your car and pretty much get the same sights. Is this a boat down here? Let's see. Yeah, that's a motorboat out on the water. See if I can get a good view of him here. Yeah, there he is. Very cool. This is going to be really neat when the VR support is updated for Flight Sim. Some of these areas are just going to really be immersive, I can imagine. And it looks like we have a road on the north side of the river now too. So that's cool. Yeah, it looks like it's starting to dry out a little bit up ahead. Definitely does not look as green when we start making the slight turn down the river to the south. Basically around that bend, we're going to be getting really close to the airport. I'm going to go ahead and try to tune into the ASOS there at Columbia Gorge. Let's take a look at the sectional chart. So it's showing the ASOS frequency is 135.175. It's actually 3517. So let's go ahead and tune that up. Oops, 3517. There we go.
Kilo Delta Lima Sierra animated weather observation 23000 Zulu. Wind, calm. Visibility, 3. Sky condition, few clouds at 1,100 feet, few clouds at 4,200 feet, few clouds at 12,500 feet. Temperature, 2 degrees C, dew point, 10 C, altimeter 2997.
So 2997 on the altimeter.
Kilo Delta Lima Sierra animated.
So I'm gonna go ahead and get that set in. 2997. So calm winds. Let's pull up the. Let's see, I'm gonna pull up the airport diagram for us. So it looks like we can either land on runway 7 or on land on runway 31 there at the Dalles. We'll probably I'm gonna plan to land on runway 31 and then we'll make a left turn off. I think we can maybe make it at the first left or maybe the second left, and we'll park at General Aviation Park. We'll try to not cross runway 25 and 7. Plenty of distance, 5,097 feet on the runway. Looks like we'll have a on 3-1. It's VMC conditions, so we're not gonna have any lights on, but very cool. 247 feet is the airport elevation, so pattern altitude is going to be at 1,300 feet. Mountains beyond 5,000 feet are approaching to runway 31. Birds in vicinity of airport, so we'll be aware of that. And it looks like the common traffic advisory frequency is 123.0, so I'm going to go ahead and get that. Let's go ahead and tune over to that. And on runway 31, which is 17 miles out, so we're just going to monitor for now. We're 10 miles out, I'll make a radio call. Okay, so this must be Hood River. So it's a pretty good sized city right here on the Columbia River. And they do have an airport. Jernstadt. See if it'll show up here on the. Oops. Yep, there it is. And you can see Mount Hood down there to the south. Looks like it's pretty open country leading to Mount Hood. As we come around the river bend here to the left, we should be starting to get into the Dalles area, so we'll be making our radio call here pretty soon. I think that's the town of White Salmon, maybe on the other side of the river here, according to the sectional chart. Any of you that are locals, feel free to correct me at any moment. I am not from Oregon or Washington State. Visited there a few times, love the area, but kind of exploring this for the first time here. But it is certainly starting to dry out as we're headed east. Definitely not as lush as back toward Portland. It's pretty cool. We've been able to see Mount Hood basically since we started the plane up this entire time. It's just such a unique mountain in this part of the country. And you can tell it's volcanic just by looking at it. So in our last leg we flew by Mount St. Helens, and I have not looked at pictures of what Mount St. Helens looked like before it blew its top, but I'm wondering if it looked similar to Mount Hood there. Alright, so we're basically at pattern altitude right now for the Dalles Airport. We are at 10 miles. I'm going to go ahead and make our position report.
Kilo Delta Lima Sierra traffic Cessna November 215 Romeo Alpha 10 miles northwest, 1,300 feet inbound to land, runway 31.
Absolutely not a whole lot of traffic out here right now. Wow, look at those hills up to the northeast. Really drying out up that way, but you know, very beautiful in their own unique way, for sure. And there's another large mountain up there to the north. I wonder. See if I can find out what that is on the sectional here. Looks like that is Mount Adams, which we were flying somewhat near on our last leg last night. So, and the Klickitat River just there off to our left, heading up north, the Klickitat River. So I guess on this north side of the river you're in Washington State, on the south side you're in Oregon. Kind of cool. And we've definitely been hopping back and forth this entire flight. Alright, 5 miles out, I'm going to make another radio call. The airport should be just ahead off of our nose in this kind of flat area. Now, this must be the mountain that's just off the end of runway 31 that the airport diagram was talking about. So we'll keep that in mind. I don't think it's going to be an issue in this Cessna 172. We're not really moving along at any significant pace. And there it is. The Dalles. Pretty large town. I'm gonna set our heading bug to the runway heading, which was shown on the airport diagram. 310. Just so we have a reference. So we're actually pretty much setting ourselves up for a left downwind. There's the runway, there's the airport. So I'm going to go ahead and announce that we're entering a, if it'll let me. Looks like it'll only let me announce final upwind leg, crosswind leg. There it is, downwind leg. I'm just going to go ahead and
Kilo
announce
Delta
that.
Lima Sierra traffic Cessna November 215 Romeo Alpha is on downwind runway tree 1.
Okay, let's run some checklists really quickly. So our descent checklist, power. So power as desired, mixture adjust, it's full rich. Altimeter settings is checked, nav GPS switch is set. Fuel selector both flaps, we'll keep them up for right now. Descent check complete. Before landing check. Pilot and passenger seat backs most upright position, seatbelt secured and locked. Fuel selector both, mixture rich. Taxi and landing lights on. Autopilot's off. And for our landing, we're looking for a final approach speed of 60 knots, and we'll be doing full flaps. And we're planning on taking the, hopefully the first left off the runway. Looks like it'd be right there. So, and we'll just park a general aviation park in there. So yeah, this is a pretty large town. It's not a town, it's a city. So calm winds, shouldn't really have much wind correction needed here. So looking until I'm gonna beam the numbers. Looks like they have something on. What is that? It's like a bus and some jets. Huh. Alright, we're beaming the numbers. This is going to be a long and extended base. I'm going to go ahead and start slowing us down a little bit. Mount Hood's still visible. Okay, here we go. We'll go ahead and start turning left. And I'll announce our base leg.
Kilo Delta Lima Sierra traffic Cessna November 215 Romeo Alpha is on base runway tree 1.
Looks like there's another dam up here too. Just to the northeast of town. Okay, here we go. This is cool looking. Definitely drier out here. And when I'm flying these smaller planes, I always do what they call a gumps check. just an easy way to make sure you're configured for landing. But GUMPS, G stands for gear. Obviously the gear is always down in this plane. I'm sorry, G stands for gas. Got the gas undercarriage for you. Mixture, full rich. And then the prop is constant. Be at a fixed pitch in the Cessna 172, so don't have to worry about that either. And this is a very basic runway. Alright. And we'll try to get off at this first left here. Wow, it's cool looking. Yeah, I need to get my joystick calibrated a little bit. My rudder's a little wonky. Alright, I'm going to announce that we're clear.
Kilo Delta Lima Sierra, traffic Cessna November 215 Romeo Alpha is clear of the runway.
Get our flaps up. Strobe off. Landing light off, leave the taxi light on, and there's a van driving directly at us. What are you doing, my man? Get off the taxiway. This is mine. I don't know what he's doing. Okay, we're just gonna go around this guy. Crazy van driver. You never know what you're gonna see in this simulator. Quite a few people out here. Pilatus, Baron, looks like. Cessnas, very cool. Gotta figure out where we're gonna park. Looks like we have some spots right there. Oh, that guy was calling me in, so that's where we're gonna park. We even have marshalers. That's cool. Let me turn off the taxi light so we don't blind the poor guy. I thought I saw him holding up his hands. Maybe that's just a... I'll just assume he was marshaling us over there. I'm gonna just line up with him. Oh yeah, he is marshaling us in. That's really cool. I didn't know they did that in this game. I don't know if I gotta get myself moving again. Alright. There we go. Alright, welcome to the Dalles. And I believe we're back in Washington State at this moment. But next leg's coming up soon. We'll be flying to down to the south, deep into mountain country in Oregon, past Mount Hood. Check out the VREF Simmer Facebook page, Instagram, YouTube channel for all the latest info. Love to have some of you join along with me here. But for now, I'm going to shut this plane down, and we will, and I'll see you again soon on a future flight.